everyone, welcome to One Stop Mathematical Solution. Today we are going to solve CSIR Net Mathematics December 2013 question paper. In this video we have only dealt with the linear algebra part. First we look into the part B questions. Question 27. For a fixed positive integer n greater than or equal to 3, let A be the n cross n matrix defined as A is equal to I minus 1 by n j, where I is the identity matrix of order n and j is the n cross n matrix with all entries equal to 1. Which of the following is not true? So we have defined a matrix A here using the identity matrix and the J matrix. We have to find which of the option is an incorrect statement. So we look into the concepts used. Trace is equal to sum of diagonal elements of the matrix. Rank of the matrix equal to the number of linearly independent non-zero rows in the echelon form of the matrix. If rank of the matrix is less than the order of the matrix, if and only if determinant equal to 0, determinant not equal to 0 if and only if the matrix is invertible. So we will move on to the question. So they are given for n greater than or equal to 3, A is equal to I minus 1 by n j. I is the identity matrix and j is the matrix where all entries are equal to 1. So I am considering the case for n is equal to 3 and generalizing it for the n cross n matrix. So A is equal to I minus 1 by n j. So I am taking an identity matrix of order 3 and j matrix of order 3 where all entries are 1. So I am taking I minus 1 by n. N is 3 here, so 1 by 3 j. So when we solve this, we are getting the matrix like this. So first we will find the trace of A. So trace of A is the sum of diagonal elements, that is equal to 2 by 3 plus 2 by 3 plus 2 by 3, that is equal to 2. So trace of A is 2. Now we will find the rank of A. So first of all, reduce the matrix A into the echelon form. So when we do that echelon form and final result, we are getting this matrix. Here there are two non-zero linearly independent rows. So rank of A is equal to 2. So rank of A is less than 3, that is rank of A is less than the order of the matrix. So the determinant of A is equal to 0, that is A is not invertible. Now I will find the matrix I minus A. We know A is given by I minus 1 by n j. So I am substituting here. So when we substitute and simplify, I am getting I minus A is equal to 1 by n j. Here I am taking for n is equal to 3 case. So this is equal to 1 by 3 into the J matrix of order 3 where all entries are 1. Here there are only one linearly independent row. So rank of I minus A is equal to 1. Therefore, rank of A plus rank of I minus A is equal to 2 plus 1, that is equal to 3. For the case 3, we are getting rank of A plus rank of I minus A is equal to 3. Therefore, for the general case n, the rank of A plus rank of I minus A will be n. So, we will check the incorrect options. So, we got trace of A is equal to 2 for the order n is equal to 3. So trace of A is equal to n minus 1 for order n. So second statement is correct. We got rank of A plus rank of I minus A n. So third statement is also correct. We got determinant A is equal to 0. That means A is not invertible. So the incorrect statement is A is invertible. Here I have not shown this option because we need only the incorrect statement. We already got that incorrect statement and part B question only has one option correct. So fourth one is the correct option. Next question, question 29. Consider the following row vectors alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha 4, alpha 5, alpha 6. The dimension of the vector space spanned by these row vectors is. So we are given 6 row vectors here. We have to find the dimension of the vector space spanned by them. So we look into the concept used. Dimension is equal to the number of linearly independent vectors in the spanning set of the vector space. So we look into the question now. So they are given the 6 row vectors. We will represent them in the matrix form, that is first row will be alpha 1, second row alpha 2, third row alpha 3, fourth row alpha 4, fifth row alpha 5, sixth row alpha 6. Now we will apply elementary row operation or column operation to reduce this matrix into echelon form. So here what I have done is R2 is changed by R2 minus R1, R3 by R3 minus R1, R4 by R4 minus R1, R5 by R5 minus R1, R6 by R6 minus R1. So we'll get this matrix. Now what I am doing is R3 is changed by R3 minus R2, and R5 is changed by R5 minus R4, and R6 is changed by R6 minus R4. So we'll get this matrix here. So now what I am going to do is R6 is changed by R6 minus R5. So we'll get the final echelon form as this. So when we look this matrix, the rows R2 and R5 are dependent, and R3 and R6 is dependent. So the total number of non-zero linearly independent row is 4. Therefore dimension is equal to number of non-zero linearly independent rows, that is equal to 4. So we'll check the correct option. So the correct option is third one. Next question, question 30. Let A n cross n is equal to Aij n greater than or equal to 3, where Aij is equal to bi square minus bj square, for ij is equal to 1 to etc. up to n, for some distinct real numbers b1, b2, etc. up to bn, then determinant A is. So we are defined an n cross n matrix here, and each element is defined by this equation. Then we have to find its determinant. So we look into the concepts used. If any two rows are equal, then determinant of the matrix is equal to 0. So we will move on to the question. So they are given this n cross n matrix here, and each element is defined by bi square minus bj square. So let me write a general n cross n matrix. So A is equal to A11, A12, etc. up to A1n, A21, A22, A23, etc. up to A2n, AN1, AN2, AN3, etc. up to ANn. Now substitute for each AI's this equation. So this is equal to b1 square minus b1 square, b1 square minus b2 square, etc. up to b1 square minus bn square, b2 square minus b1 square, b2 square minus b2 square, etc. up to b2 square minus bn square, bn square minus b1 square, bn square minus b2 square, etc. up to bn square minus bn square. For the diagonal elements, we are getting the elements as 0. So substitute that. So we'll get the matrix like this. Now what I am going to do is replace R2 by R2 minus R1 and R3 by R3 minus R1. So once we do that, we are getting the matrix like this. And if you look now the second row, all the elements are same. So I am taking b2 square minus b1 square outside, and the third row I am taking b3 square minus b1 square outside. So the matrix look like this. Now we have the second row and the third row equal. So if we know if two rows are equal, then determinant is equal to 0. Therefore we got determinant A is equal to 0. So we will check the correct option. So the correct option is third one. Next question, question 31. Let A be an n cross n matrix with real entries. Which of the following is correct? So we are given an matrix here A. We have to find which of the option is correct. So we will look into the concepts used. For an n cross n matrix, characteristic polynomial is given by lambda power n minus s1 lambda power n minus 1 plus etc. up to minus 1 whole power n sn. Note S1 is the trace of the matrix and Sn is the determinant of the matrix. Roots of the characteristic polynomial are called the eigenvalues. Minimal polynomial is the least degree monic polynomial which the matrix satisfies. Minimal polynomial always divides characteristic polynomial. Matrix is diagonalizable over Z as well as R if and only if minimal polynomial is the product of linear factors. If eigenvalues are distinct, then matrix is diagonalizable over R as well as C. So now we'll move on to the question. We'll look the options one by one. First option, if A square equal to 0, then A is diagonalizable over C. So let me take A is equal to 0, 1, 0, 0. Then characteristic polynomial is equal to x square minus x into trace is 0 plus determinant is also 0. Therefore characteristic polynomial is x square, And we know minimal polynomial divides characteristic polynomial. So possibilities of minimal polynomial are x and x square. Suppose minimal polynomial is x, then a should satisfy that polynomial. That is a is equal to 0, but it is a contradiction because a is a non-zero matrix. Therefore minimal polynomial is x square, which is the characteristic polynomial as well. Here we are getting minimal polynomial is not a product of linear factor. Therefore a is not diagonalizable over c as well as over r. So this option is wrong. So we'll look the next option. Second option, if a square is equal to I, then a is equal to diagonalizable over r. So a square equal to I, replace a by x and I by 1. So we get x square is equal to 1, that is x equal to plus or minus 1. That is, we got eigenvalues as distinct. Therefore a is diagonalizable over r. So second option is correct. Third option, if a square equal to a, then a is diagonalizable only over c. So replace a by x, then we will get x square is equal to x. That is x into x minus 1 is equal to 0. See, we got x is equal to 0, 1. That is, the roots of characteristic polynomial are eigenvalues. So 0 and 1 are the eigenvalues and they are distinct. So a is diagonalizable over r as well as c. Here they have only told that a is diagonalizable only over c. So this option is wrong. The only matrix of size n satisfying the characteristic polynomial of a is a. So if I take characteristic polynomial equal to x into x minus 2, then we get two matrix satisfying that. The matrix this and the matrix this. So it is not necessary that the characteristic polynomial of a is satisfied only by that a. So this option is also wrong. So now we'll check the correct options. So the correct option is second one. Next question, question 45. Let A be a 4x for invertible real matrix. Which of the following is not necessarily true? So we are given a matrix here which is invertible. We have to find which of the option is an incorrect statement. So we look into the concept used. Determinant A is non-zero for an n cross n matrix. Then rows form basis of R power n. If determinant is not equal to 0, if and only if rank is equal to the order of the matrix. Rank nullity theorem states the number of columns equal to the rank of the matrix plus nullity of the matrix. And rank is the dimension of image space and nullity is the dimension of null space or dimension of kernel. So we'll move on to the question. So they are given A is a 4x4 matrix which is invertible. Invertible means determinant is non-zero. If determinant is non-zero, the rows form basis of R power 4. Here the matrix is of order 4. And determinant not equal to 0 implies rank of A is equal to order of the matrix which is equal to 4. And we know rank is the dimension of image space. Therefore dimension of image space equal to 4. By rank nullity theorem, number of columns equal to rank plus nullity. Therefore, 4 is equal to 4 plus nullity of A. That is, nullity of A is equal to 0. That is, dimension of null space equal to 0. That is, null space only contains the identity element 0. So, if we take A is equal to I, the identity matrix, then A has only one eigenvalue. That is 1. Now we'll check the incorrect statement of the question. We got rows of A forms the basis of R power 4. So 1 is the correct option. 1 is the correct statement. Null space of A contains only the 0 vector. We got dimension of null space equal to 0. Therefore null space only contains 0 vector. That is also a correct statement. A has 4 distinct eigenvalues. So I told if A is equal to I, we are only getting one eigenvalue. So this option is an incorrect statement. So image of the linear transformation x to ax on R power 4 is R power 4. Yeah, because we got rank is equal to 4. Therefore dimension of image space is 4 and dimension of R power 4 is also 4. So this option is correct. So the incorrect statement is third one. Now we'll move on to the part C questions. Question 71. Let v1, v2, etc. up to vn be linearly independent subset of a vector space V where n greater than or equal to 4. Set wij is equal to vi minus vj. W be the span of wij such that 1 less than or equal to I comma j less than or equal to n. Then, so they are given vi is to be linearly independent. Wij is defined based on them. W is the span of wij's. Then we have to find which of the following option is correct. We look into the concept used. U1, U2, etc. up to Un spans vector space V if every element V in V can be written as a linear combination of Ui's. That is, V is equal to alpha 1 Un plus alpha 2 U2 plus etc. up to alpha n Un, where alpha is a scalars. U1, U2, etc. up to Un is linearly dependent if Ui equal to 0 for any I. Determinant equal to 0 if and only if the vectors are linearly dependent. Now we will move on to the question. They are given W is equal to span of Wij, where Wij is equal to Vi minus Vj. So W can be written as a linear combination ofWij's. That is equal to Cij Wij. That is equal to C11 W11 plus C12 W12 plus etc. up to C1n W1n. C21 W21 plus C22 W22 plus C2n W2n plus etc. up to Cn1 Wn1 plus Cn2 Wn2 plus etc. up to Cnn Wnn. Now I am substituting Wij's here for each one. So this is equal to C11 V1 minus V1 plus C12 into V1 minus V2 etc. up to C1n into V1 minus Vn plus etc. defined for each. So we will get here V1 minus V1, that is equal to 0. Here also it is 0. Here also it is 0. Substitute that and simplify. So this is equal to C12 into V1 minus V2 plus C13 into V1 minus V3 etc. up to C1n V1 minus V1 etc. up to Cn1 Vn minus V1 plus Cn2 Vn minus V2 plus etc. up to Cn n minus 1 Vn minus Vn minus 1. Now we will check the options one by one. First option, set of Wij such that 1 less than or equal to I less than j less than or equal to n spans W. It is obvious since W is defined as a span ofWij's. That is, each element in W is the linear combination of Wij. So this option is true. Second option, set of Wij such that 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to j less than or equal to n is a linearly independent subset of W. So I am taking the case for n is equal to 4 and generalizing it for the case n. So let S is equal to set of all Wij such that 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to j less than or equal to 4. So this set contains elements equal to set of all W11, W12, W13, W14, W21, W22, W23, W24, W31, W32, W33, W34, W41, W42, W43, W44. We know Wi is defined as Vi minus Vj. Therefore, W11 is equal to V1 minus V1, that is equal to 0, and W22 is also 0, W33 is also 0, W44 is also 0. So this can be written as equal to set of all 0, W1, W12, W13, W14, W21, W23, W24, W31, W32, W34, W41, W42, W43. And this contains the 0 as an element. So S is a linearly dependent set. So for n is equal to 4, we are getting this set as linearly dependent. Therefore, for n is equal to n case, the set will be a linearly dependent set. So this option is wrong. Third option, set of all Wij such that 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to n minus 1, j is equal to I plus 1 spans W. So for this, I am taking n is equal to 3 and generalizing it for the case n. So let S is equal to Wij such that 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to 3, j is equal to I plus 1. Then S contains the elements W12, W23 and W34. So we have to check S spans W. That is, each element in W should be a linear combination of W12, W23, W34. And we know W is the span of Wij's. Already I wrote in the beginning of the solution, W is equal to these linear combinations. So for n is equal to 4, I am substituting here and writing W as the linear combination of these elements. And now I am simplifying it, that is taking common elements. So this is equal to C12 minus C21 into V1 minus V2 plus C13 minus C31 into V1 minus V3, C14 minus C41 into V1 minus V4 plus C23 minus C32 into V2 minus V3 plus C24 minus C42 into V2 minus V4 plus C34 minus C43 into V3 minus V4. We know W12 is V1 minus V2, W23 is V2 minus V3, W34 is V3 minus V4. So here this element, then this element, and this element is a linear combination of S. We will check for these three elements. So for that I am adding here V2 and subtracting V2. Here I am adding V2 and subtracting V2 and adding V3 and subtracting V3. Here I am adding V3 and subtracting V3. So we will get like this, that is C12 minus C21 into V1 minus V2 plus C13 into minus C31 into V1 minus V2 minus V3 minus V2 plus C14 minus C41 into V1 minus V2 plus V2 minus V3 minus V4 minus V3 plus C23 minus C32 into V2 minus V3 plus C24 minus C42 into V2 minus V3 minus V4 minus V3 plus C34 minus C43 into V3 minus V4. Now substitute the Wij's. So this is equal to linear combination of W12, W23 and W34. That is, W is the written as linear combination of S for n is equal to 4 case. Therefore for n is equal to n case, we can write W as a linear combination of this. Therefore this set spans W. So this option is correct. Now we will check the last option. Dimension of W is equal to n. So we know W is the span of Wij's. So we will check whether this set is a linearly independent or dependent set. Already we showed that 0 belongs to this set. Therefore the set is linearly dependent. Therefore determinant W is equal to 0. So determinant W equal to 0 means dimension is less than n. So this option is wrong. So now we will check the correct statements. So the correct options are 1 and 3. Next question, question 72. For any real square matrix M, let lambda plus Fm be the number of positive eigenvalues of M counting multiplicities. Let A be an n cross n real symmetric matrix and Q be an n cross n real invertible matrix. Then so they have given a symmetric matrix and invertible matrix Q. We have to find which of the following options are true. So we look into the concepts used. For a non-singular matrix P, if B is equal to P transpose AP, then B is congruent to A. Two symmetric matrices are congruent over R if and only if they have same rank and same index, or same rank and same signature. Index means is the number of positive eigenvalues, and signature is found using the formula S is equal to P minus R minus P, where P is the index of the matrix and R is the rank of the matrix. For any invertible matrix B, A is similar to B inverse AB, that is A similar to B inverse AB. Similar matrices have same rank and same eigenvalues. So now we'll move on to the question. So given A is symmetric, that is A transpose is equal to A. Now let B is equal to Q transpose AX. So using concept 1, B is congruent to A. And we know B transpose equal to Q transpose A QX whole transpose, which is equal to Q transpose A transpose into Q transpose whole transpose, that is equal to Q transpose AX, that is equal to B, that is B transpose equal to B, that is B is symmetric. We already got B is congruent to A and B and A are symmetric, that is B and A are symmetric congruent matrices. So using concept 2, B and A have same rank and same index, that is A and Q transpose AX have same rank and same index. Index means same number of positive eigenvalues. That is rank of A is equal to rank of Q transpose AX and lambda plus of A is equal to lambda plus of Q transpose AX. Also we have A is similar to Q inverse AX, AQ, where Q is invertible. Therefore, similar matrices have same rank and same eigenvalues. So, A and Q inverse AX have same rank and same eigenvalues. So, rank of A is equal to rank of Q inverse AQ. Lambda plus of A is equal to lambda plus of Q inverse AQ. So, we'll check the correct options. So, the correct options are all the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next question, question 73. Let T1 and T2 be two linear transformations from Rn to Rn. Let x1, x2, etc. xn be a basis of Rn. Suppose that T1 xi not equal to 0 for every I in 1, 2, 3, etc. up to n, and that each xi is perpendicular to kernel T2 for every I equal to 1, 2, etc. up to n. Which of the following is or are necessarily true? So they are given two linear transformations such that T1 of xi is non-zero and xi is perpendicular to kernel of T2. Then we have to check which of the option is true. Now we will look at the concepts used. T from U to V is a linear transformation. Then kernel of transformation T is given by kernel of T is equal to set of all U in U such that T of U is equal to 0V, where 0V is the identity element in V. Kernel T is equal to singleton 0 if and only if T is invertible. Now we will move on to the question. Now I am defining the linear transformation T1 from Rn to Rn as T1 of x1 is equal to x1 minus x2, T1 of x2 as x2 minus x3, T1 of xn minus 1 as xn minus 1 minus x1, T1 of xn as xn minus x1. Then the condition T of xi not equal to 0 is satisfied for each I. Now let us define T2 from Rn to Rn as the identity map T2 of xi is equal to xi for each I. Then kernel of T2 only contains a singleton 0. So xi is perpendicular to kernel of T2 is also satisfied. Now consider T1 of sigma is equal to 1 to n xi, which is equal to T1 of x1 plus x2 plus etc. up to xn. T1 is a linear transformation, so we can split it as T1 of x1 plus T2 of x2 plus T2 of x3 etc. up to T1 of xn. Now substitute the value of T1 of xi. So when we substitute and simplify, we are getting the value as 0. So T1 of sigma equal to 1 to xi is equal to 0. That is sigma equal to 1 to n xi belongs to kernel of T1. So T1 is not invertible by the concept 2. Now we will show whether T2 is invertible or not. Suppose T2 is not invertible, then kernel of T2 is not equal to singleton 0. That is, we get a non-zero V in kernel of T2. That is, set of all x1, x2, etc. up to xn, comma V becomes a linearly independent set, which is a contradiction to dimension of Rn is equal to n. So T2 is always invertible. Now we'll check the correct option. So the correct option is second one. Next question, question 74. Let S from Rn to Rn be given by V is mapped to alpha V for a fixed alpha in R's, alpha not equal to 0. Let T from Rn to Rn be a linear transformation such that B is equal to set of all V1, V2, etc. up to Vn is a set of linearly independent eigenvectors of T then. So they are given a map S which is defined by this. A linear transformation is given and a set of eigenvectors of that transformation is given by the set B. Then we have to check which of the following option is true. Now we are looking at the concepts used. Any linearly independent set of vectors containing same number of elements as bases form a basis of the vector space. V is an eigenvector of a linear transformation if T of V is equal to lambda V corresponding to its eigenvalue lambda. Now we will move on to the question. They are given S of V is equal to alpha V and B is equal to V1, V2, etc. up to Vn is a linearly independent eigenvector of T, and the set contains n elements and is a linearly independent set. Therefore, by concept 1, P is equal to set of all V1, V2, etc. up to Vn forms the basis of Rn. So, S of Vi is equal to alpha Vi by the definition of S. So, writing S with respect to the basis, we found the matrix representation which is given by S is equal to alpha 0, 0 for vector V1, for vector V2 alpha 0, alpha 0, 0, etc. Up to 0, 0, alpha. Now we have B is equal to V1, V2, etc. up to Vn as the linearly independent eigenvectors of T. Therefore, by definition, T of Vi is equal to lambda I Vi, where lambda I is the corresponding eigenvalue of Vi. Now, writing this transformation with respect to B, we get the matrix representation as T is equal to lambda 0, 0, 0, lambda 0, 0, 0, lambda 0, 0, etc. up to 0, 0, 0, lambda. Now, when we find T minus S, that is equal to lambda minus alpha, only the diagonal elements are coming. So, T minus S is a diagonal element, T is also a diagonal element, S is also a diagonal element. So, we will check the correct options. So, the correct options are 1 and 2. Next question, question 75. For an n cross n real matrix A, lambda belongs to R and a non-zero vector V belongs to Rn. Suppose that A minus lambda I whole power k into V is equal to 0 for a positive integer k, then which of the following are always true? So they are given a matrix A which satisfies this equation. Then we have to check which of the option is true. So we look into the concepts used. AK is invertible if and only if A is invertible. Invertible if and only if it's a 1-1 transformation. Lambda is an eigenvalue if determinant A minus lambda I is equal to 0. So now we'll move on to the question. So they are given A minus lambda I whole power k into V equal to 0. Now we'll see the options one by one. First option, A minus lambda I whole power k plus R into V is equal to 0 for all positive integers R. Consider A minus lambda I whole power k plus R into V. Now we can split this term, that is equal to A minus lambda I whole power k into A minus lambda I whole power R into V. We know A minus lambda I whole power k into V is equal to 0. Substituting it here, we get 0 into A minus I lambda whole power R, which is equal to 0. So this option is correct. Second option, A minus lambda I whole power k minus 1 into V equal to 0. So suppose we consider A is equal to this matrix. It has eigenvalue 0 of algebraic multiplicity 3. Then A square is given by this matrix. A cube is given by this matrix. So if I take V is equal to 0, 0, 1, we have A cube V is equal to 0, but A square V not equal to 0. That is A minus lambda I whole power k minus 1 V is equal to 0 is not always necessary. So this option is wrong. Third option, A minus lambda I is not injective, that is not 1-1. So we have A minus lambda I whole power k into V equal to 0. So taking determinant of A minus lambda I whole power k is equal to 0, which implies determinant A minus lambda I is equal to 0. So determinant equal to 0 means this A minus lambda I is not 1-1, that is not injective. Fourth option, lambda is an eigenvalue of A. It is obvious since we got determinant A minus lambda I whole power k equal to 0 implies determinant A minus lambda I is equal to 0, which is the definition of eigenvalue. So this option is also true. So we'll check the correct options. So the correct options are 1, 3 and 4. Next question, question 76. Let y be a non-zero vector in an inner product space V, then which of the following are subspaces of V? So they are given a inner product space V. We have to find which of the options are subspace. So we look into the concepts used. W is a subspace of V if 0 belongs to W and alpha A plus beta V belongs to W for every A, B in W and alpha beta being scalars. So we look into the options one by one. So first option, W1 is equal to set of all X belongs to V such that inner product X comma Y is equal to 0. Obviously 0 belongs to W1 because inner product with 0 is always 0. Now let x1 x2 belongs to W1. We have to show alpha x1 plus beta x2 belongs to W1. That is inner product of alpha x1 plus beta x2 with y is equal to 0. So consider that inner product alpha x1 plus beta x2 comma y. So this can be written as inner product alpha x1 comma y plus inner product beta x2 comma y. So I'm taking alpha and beta outside. So this is equal to alpha into inner product x1 y plus beta into inner product x2 y. x1 and x2 belongs to W1. So inner product x1 y is equal to 0 and inner product x2 y is also 0. So this is equal to 0 plus 0, that is equal to 0, which implies alpha x1 plus beta x2 belongs to W1. Now if you see the second one, the element 0 does not belongs to this set. So this is not a subspace. Similarly, you can show the option 4 also, that 0 doesn't belongs to that set. So these 2 and 4 are not subspace. Now we will check for the third option. So let me take W2 is equal to set of all X belongs to V such that inner product X comma Z is equal to 0 for all Z such that inner product Z comma Y is equal to 0. Obviously 0 belongs to W2 because inner product with 0 is again 0. Now let x1 x2 belongs to W2, then inner product x1 Z is equal to 0 for all Z such that inner product Z comma Y is equal to 0 and inner product x2 Z equal to 0 for all Z such that inner product Z comma Y equal to 0. We have to show in alpha x1 plus beta x2 the element of W2. So consider inner product alpha x1 plus beta x2 comma Z, that is equal to alpha into inner product x1 comma Z plus beta into x2 comma Z. We know this value is 0 for all Z such that inner product Z comma Y is equal to 0. So we are getting this value is equal to 0 for all Z such that inner product Z comma Y equal to 0. Therefore alpha x1 plus beta x2 belongs to W2. Therefore this set is also a subspace. So we'll check the correct option. So the correct option is 1 and 3. Next question, question 77. If f from S to S is a function, then we denote by f bar k the function f composite f for k times. Let f1 and f2 be the functions defined on R square as follows. f1 of xy is equal to x plus 1 comma y plus 3. f2 of xy is equal to x minus 3 comma y minus 2. Then, so they have defined two functions here. We have to check which of the options are true. So we'll look into the concept used. T is a linear transformation if t of 0 is equal to 0. So now we'll move on to the question. So they are given f1 of xy is equal to x plus 1 comma y plus 3 and f2 of xy is equal to x minus 3 comma y minus 2. So f1 per k means we are compositing f k times. So when we do that, this is equal to x plus k comma y plus 3k. Similarly, f2 per k of xy is equal to x minus 3k comma y minus 2k. So now we'll check the options one by one. First option, for any positive integer k, there exists a unique AB belongs to R square such that f1 per k of 0 0 is equal to f2 per k comma 0 AB. So now consider f1 per k 0 0 is equal to f2 per k of AB. Substitute this 0 0 in f1 of k and AB in f2 of k. So we'll get this implies 0 plus k comma 0 plus 3k is equal to a minus 3k comma b minus 3k. So this implies k is equal to a minus 3k and 3k is equal to b minus 2k. That is a is equal to 4k and b is equal to 5k. That is for each k we are getting a unique AB such that this is equal. So this option is correct. Next option, for any real number alpha and any positive integer k, there is at most one solution y for f1 power k of 0 0 equal to f2 power k of alpha y. So consider f1 power k of 0 0 is equal to f2 power k of alpha y. Substitute 0 0 in this equation and alpha y in this equation. So we'll get k3k is equal to alpha minus 3k comma y minus 2k. So this implies k is equal to alpha minus 3k, 3k is equal to y minus 2k. From this we get alpha is equal to 4k and y is equal to 5k. So for a positive integer k, we are only getting one solution y. So they have asked only at most one solution. That is we are getting only at most one solution here y. So this option is also true. Third option, there exists AB belongs to R square such that f1 power k of AB is not equal to f2 power k of xy for any xy in R square and for any positive integer k. Suppose if I take xy is equal to 1 comma 1 and k is equal to 1, then f2 power x of xy is equal to f2 power k of 1 comma 1, which is equal to substitute in this. So we'll get this is equal to 1 minus 3 comma 1 minus 2, which is equal to minus 2 comma minus 1. So if I take a is equal to minus 3 and b is equal to minus 4, f1 power k of ab is equal to f1 power k of minus 3 minus 4. Substitute in this. So we are getting this is equal to minus 2 comma minus 1. So we are getting these two values same. That is f1 power k of AB is equal to f2 power k of xy. So this option is not always necessary. So this option is wrong. So we'll check the correct options. So fourth one I have not shown here because f1 is not a linear transformation, because f of 0 0 we are not getting it as equal to 0 0. So f1 is not a linear transformation. So the correct options are 1 and